All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome and good evening to the call tonight, the Cash Flow Call. My name is Eric Kennedy. I'm the Director of Program Development of National Business Builders, and I got Mr. James Hall of JNC Financial Services on the call. He's out of Fallen Waters, West Virginia. I got Miss Bertha Winston popping on right now. Bertha Winston, she got about 30 businesses out of the DMV area jumping on right now. Hey, listen, y'all. What is it? What is it, Miss Bertha? The W?
Intimate event at the W, yeah.
Intimate event at the W, man.
And the pavilion.
And the pavilion. And all kind of things going on. So as y'all jump on, do me a favor, drop your city and your state, like it, share it, and tag somebody. And I'm gonna continue a conversation that we was having just before this short conversation we was having right before we got on live. Growing your business, man, growing your growth. Your growth has to be scaled. Because if our growth is not scaled, it can actually cause us to fail. We don't want to do that. So you got to scale your growth. But I'm going to go ahead and share this as well. Excuse me. Let me go ahead and share this. And tonight's topic is really, really, I think it's really key among a lot of things that we're talking about. But tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about assets versus liabilities. There's a lot of people who don't know the difference. And it's a lot of people that don't know the difference. And we're going to talk about this briefly, but going to go into some other things tonight as well. We got Pastor Gregory Napier out of Columbus, Ohio. How you doing, sir?
Family.
Welcome back.
Man, I'm sorry I was late, man. I seen Eric pop off of one thing. You know, I'm old like Miss Bertha, so I can't know. I'm just playing. That's my friend. That's my friend. I was talking about you today to my other friend. Said I want to be like Miss Bertha. and I see Eric did a phenomenal. Are you live yet, Eric?
Yes, sir. We live. Just keep talking. We good.
Everybody
out there.
Yeah, you did a fantastic job of throwing that credit down, boy. Woo!
Thank you, sir.
You got me so fired up. I said, look, I was supposed to go live myself and talk about some credit. I said, then I saw, well, Eric ain't on. He done popped off. Let me pop in here. Hi, James. How you doing, brother?
Too blessed and stressed, Pastor. Too blessed.
Oh, my goodness, man. I miss y'all. But I've been traveling. I left the state of Ohio and went to Virginia for 4 days. Yeah, I was in a little small town called Tazewell.
Oh, man, yeah. I know where they're at.
Dude, they shut down 8 o'clock. They shut down.
You was in the mountains.
I know where I was at, Miss Bertha. I done been there a few times.
Yeah, I've been there a lot of times.
Woo, it's a
beautiful mountain.
I love it. I promise you, I love it.
Yeah, it's okay to visit.
It's okay. There you go. That's a good point. Listen, I couldn't have said that. No, listen, and one of my apostle might be on here because that's why I went down to celebrate his 10 years of ministry at that church, First Baptist Church, and it was phenomenal. I mean, the food was good, the people was good, the water was good.
Oh yeah.
You know, I got a video I want to share later on, probably this week about.
They feed you good.
Yeah, I ate real good, spiritually and physically.
Yeah, they feed you good.
Yeah, spiritually.
I caught some of your Bible study as well. I did. I did
Bible study live in Virginia. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's that's amazing to be able to go from. That's amazing to be able to go from one spot to the other, and actually broadcast and keep on reaching out. You know what I'm saying?
What's the bishop name? What was the bishop
name? Apostle Donnie. His name is Apostle Donnie Hairston.
Okay.
First Baptist Church in Tazewell, Virginia.
Okay.
Yes. Real good.
I was with True Apostolic Tabernacle.
I don't know where that's at.
It's in Tazewell.
He would know.
Yeah.
He's been there for quite some time. So
it's called Baptist Valley.
I ain't gonna know nothing, Miss Bertha.
That's what it's called. It's in Baptist Valley. Ask him, do we know where Baptist Valley is?
Well, he's live, so he's on. He might get on there. He might see.
Yeah, that's where it said. It's in Baptist Valley.
Baptist Valley. Okay, I'm gonna remember to ask him that when I get off this broadcast. But Mr. McKinley did a super, super fantastic job, man. I was like, woo.
Did you tell me, Eric?
They're having church over there.
Yeah, it's a Bible study. And they talking about Bible study. They talking about what I has been talking about and what we all need to be talking about, especially in the body. We got to talk about money and stop being afraid to talk about money, because money is important. You can't do nothing. I don't know what the topic is tonight, so I'm gonna shut up right there.
I'm gonna tag you right now, Miss Bertha.
Yeah, because
actually your mentor was on just now.
Oh, really?
Mr. Tucker. Mr. Tucker was beating him down. He was beating him down with some information just now.
The rule of 72. Now you talking about the bloody mess. He talking about the bloody mess now.
Oh, I didn't even know he was on.
Yeah, we were actually supporting Brett Garrison in his church. Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But hey, if y'all just not jumping on, man, listen, drop your city and your state. I got Mr. Travis Farrell out of Waco, Texas. We ain't coming out. Y'all know what Waco stand for. Yeah. And then you got Mr. Donald D. Davidson Senior, Triple D, out of New York City. Hey, check it out. Today, this evening. And this is going to be a call that we talk about assets versus liabilities. Assets versus liabilities. And a lot of people don't really know what an asset is. And I don't know if we did a call on this or not. I know I've done several myself personally, but by definition, an asset is anything that puts money into our finances, into our pockets. Okay. And it adds to. An asset adds to.
Right.
And a liability is anything that takes away from.
Exactly.
So an asset can actually be exponential. It can multiply. Right?
Yeah.
It can multiply, but a liability is going to do more than just subtract. It's going to divide and conquer too. And if we're not careful, I just mentioned this on the other call, that a lot of people don't realize that debt is an asset for somebody else. Debt is an asset for the lender. It's an asset for the lender. And it's three entities. I did a video today about it. Nobody saw it because nobody on my timeline, but I did a video today about it. That's why I like to get on this evening and talk a little bit. Did a video today about it and said there's three entities or three people or three areas we have to be concerned about that use us as assets. So you got to ask yourself, are you an asset or are you a liability? And I believe we're all assets at one point in time for other people. And I believe we are all liabilities or can be liabilities for other people.
Yeah.
But I need you to understand something. As you're listening to this, I want you to be thinking outside of the box. Me and Pastor Greg was talking today, and I said, Pastor Greg, we got to be critical thinkers. It's the critical thinkers that are going to keep the wheel spinning. Going to be the people who are going to ask the uncomfortable questions, the thought-provoking questions, the wealth, wisdom building questions. That's the critical thinkers. So I want to ask y'all, are you an asset or are you a liability? At any given time, we can be that.
Yeah.
What are y'all thoughts on that? Assets and liabilities. Miss Bertha, what you got for us?
I think we could be both, we are, I think we are both, really,
What mean, just let's get a little bit deeper, because before you started to be the financial guru that you are right now today, I'm sure you served in the role as a liability.
Yeah, and I mean, I still am.
Okay, okay,
as long as you living and there's debt, and you're gonna be a liability.
Thank you. All right, okay, and I like that answer. I think that's an honest. Answer, because I think people think that they can only be one or the other.
Yeah, but we want to be more asset driven than being a liability.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm working on. Being more of an asset than having liabilities, and
So
I'm working
so
on that
so
real hard.
so my question to you is, as you learn more about assets and liabilities, as you learn more, you have to understand that there's a time and place for everything.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah,
We want to get to the place to where we are, like you said, more of an asset to ourselves and less of a liability to somebody else. But we're gonna always have
yeah,
liabilities. We're gonna
yeah,
always have things going out.
yeah. And
Pastor,
once your mindset change, you realize, which side you on, you know,
oh,
and
absolutely.
and then you realize that you don't want to be always on the liability side. You want to be on the asset side, and that takes discipline and it takes education. You got to be educated in order for that to happen, and your mindset has to change from where it was. Um, or where it is, if that's
Or where it is.
or where it is.
Yeah, and because here's the thing. You think about, we go out there and we the first thing we do is we go out there and we get,
Yeah, yeah.
not thinking about the result.
Right,
Right?
right,
Remember,
right.
there's not a problem with us. There's never a problem with us giving people what they want.
Mm-hmm.
It's always an issue or concern with giving people what they need.
Yeah, yeah,
Making sure people get what they need. So we
yeah,
find a way to get what we want.
yeah.
Peter and Paul will get shorted. We'll rob
Mm-hmm.
both of them.
Mm-hmm.
We'll rob Peter and Paul to get what we want. But then when we turn around 3 times and click our heels, we're not going back home.
Yeah.
We're stuck in a position.
And
So
then you have to evaluate, where you are and
yep.
and what you want. A lot of things that we want, we don't really need. And so you have to ask yourself, is this a need or is it a want?
Mm.
And then once you come to the conclusion that I really don't need this, I just want it. I mean, me, for instance, like I wanted a RAV4. I really wanted a RAV4. I really wanted a RAV4. And I was in the dealership and there it was. The color
That RAV4 looking at you.
and everything. I was like, devil, you are on my trail today. It was sitting there. It was lovely. Everything I wanted and everything I needed on the car. It was fully loaded. But then I had to think about it. I just paid off my other car. Did I want to really get into another car note? I had paid it off about 6 months. And so when I talked to the gentleman, he said, well, come on over here and we could, get you written up. And I was like, okay, I'm looking at the unit price on the car. I said, and by the time you add this and by the time you add that, it's going to be this, that, and the other. He said, well, yeah, And so I said, you know what? Let me think about this. I said, for one, I'm not ready for you to pull my credit because I knew that was going to be a hard credit.
Cool, yeah.
If he pulled that credit, that was going to knock my credit down at least 2 points. So I said, let me think about it. And I kid you not, after I left that dealership and saw that beautiful car, the color I want, candy apple red. That's the color I wanted. And when I left that dealership and I thought about it, I haven't had that urge anymore. I haven't had that urge anymore.
Just like God will give you the desires of your heart, He will take away the things that we say we don't want to. So
that desire left. That was not a need. That was a want.
That was a want.
And I thought about that real seriously.
Well,
and
you got to think about
that was
it too.
Just an example that I wanted to throw out there because sometimes our want overpowers our need.
And they were ready for you.
Oh, he was ready. He was definitely ready.
They saw you come in.
I was ready too, till I started thinking.
They saw you coming in. They say, "Hey,
and how long it's gonna be for me to pay for?"
We got us one." That's what they were saying. And there's nothing wrong. It's nothing wrong with wanting something, wanting more. Yeah. But there's a way to actually do it. Yeah. So if y'all are just jumping on, we got Mr. Donald Davidson, Mr. Travis Farrell, we got Miss Valerie Norfolk, Mr. Joshua Rowe, we got Mr. David Johnson. He's got his thing, a shrimp thing on here. I keep forgetting. I'm sorry, bro. And then you got Miss Lillis Lumpkins. Y'all listen. We're talking about assets versus liabilities. And we are all going to be liabilities to something or somebody till we die. The question is, he said compulsive buying is a real problem. He said the question is, how much of a liability are you going to, how much of an asset are you going to be to somebody else?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the question. So, want to make sure you understand. And Pastor, go ahead and share some information, man. Assets and liabilities. What you think?
Well, Miss Bertha hit it real good, and I say this often about the wants and the needs. And you're right. You're gonna be an asset. You're gonna be an asset and a liability to somebody. You're gonna be an asset and a liability to somebody. Why not be an asset to yourself? And I never looked at it like that for a long time. Didn't even understand the difference between good debt and bad debt. I just looked at it as debt. Debt was debt to me until someone explained to me the difference between good debt and bad debt. And I know people be saying, well, is there such thing as good debt? Yes. If you buy some investment property and you are renting that property out, that's good debt because someone is paying for your debt, the tenant. I'll give you an example. I purchased a home 1985 to live in it. Well, that would be me being an asset for somebody else until it became an asset for me in terms of the mortgage being paid and the tenants are paying me. That's an asset for me. Then it came down. I was just like Miss Bertha on the car thing. I own a 2007 Hummer. I wanted the electric Hummer. I still want the electric Hummer. The electric Hummer costs $80,000. So I said, okay, Greg, you won debt from being debt free, literally. So I said, I'm going to figure out a way to get that Hummer and pay cash for it. Because I'm going to get the Hummer. I'm just going on the record to tell you, I'm going to get the electric Hummer. It may not be a 2021, but I'm going to get the electric Hummer. I'm going to find a way to have it become an asset for me. The dealership might think it's going to be an asset for them, and that's the difference. It all boils down to what Ms. Bertha said: the want and the need. When you understand the difference between the want and the need, and how bad you don't want to be in that column of debt column, because you got to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's how you decide between the want and the need. And you pull your head out of the sand and you say, okay, yeah, I want that candy apple red car, but do I really need that? I just paid that. Right, I just paid the car off. I just paid the car off. It feels good. My wife and I have been over on this side for so long that it's real hard for me to say, oh, I'm gonna go over here and get this. No. When once you become free, I don't know about y'all, but when I became free, I don't want to be enslaved no more. I know what it feels like to rob Peter to pay Paul, and robbing Paul to pay Peter, and keep going back and forth, and because you're gonna be a liability for somebody. Mm-hmm. You got to decide how long do you want to be that way.
And so hold on, Pastor. Sound like we're saying that debt goes along with assets and liabilities.
It does. It does.
How did that get in there? How did that? We talking about assets and liabilities. How did that get involved in assets and liabilities?
It gotta be there, because the minute you go and get that car loan, you went in debt, and you became an asset, and you became an asset for the car dealership
or the bank,
the bank, and you became a liability for yourself. You didn't build no wealth for you when you bought that car. You bought that car because you wanted that car. You didn't really need it.
But it looked good.
Yeah, but that's
it looked good.
That's the reason. Good. It does. It looks great. It's fantastic. They
got that new car smell.
They package it up real good.
Yeah.
It got a tree hanging on the window, on the mirror.
All of it. The packaging is great.
Yeah.
You saw the packaging was great for Miss Bertha. She drew you a picture. If you didn't like a RAV4, you was gonna fall in love with a RAV4 after she got finished describing it to you. Fully loaded, candy apple red, all of that had all of the trimmings, and that's how we get caught.
Yeah,
that's how we get caught. That Hummer was calling my name. It's been calling my name. It's electric. It's brand new. I already own a Hummer, but guess what? That 2007 Hummer is paid for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's paid.
So check it out. What I think I heard you say was, even if I didn't want the car, after Miss Bertha became a spokesperson for the car dealership, indirectly, by sharing her story, by sharing her story with me or somebody else, a second or third party,
right?
Now that's what's called a seed being planted. I'm not trying to get all deep, y'all. I'm just saying how the human mind works. A seed's now being planted, and now even if you don't want that car, you want a new car now. It's on your mind. It's in the atmosphere. Okay. So why we can't plant wealth like that?
We can. It goes back to what James and I have been, all of us been saying. It's a mindset. We have to recondition the way we've been taught. If you recondition the way you've been taught, that's how you break the curse. But until you're ready to recondition the way you've been taught, the curse going to continue to go, because we're going to keep wanting, and we're going to keep dealing with want instead of need. The need is always going to overwhelm the want, and that's how the deception of the devil works. See, all of us are. It's a spirit. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, this is all spiritual for real. Regardless if you want, because we treat money like it's some kind of taboo thing. It's just an instrument. It's just an instrument.
It's a tool.
It's a tool. Yeah. That's all it is. And in the wrong hands, it's gonna do the wrong thing. In the right hands, it's gonna do the right thing. It's innocent. It's in the middle. It's in the middle.
It's Switzerland.
It can whistle you to death, or it can whistle you to death, or it can whistle you out of death.
No, I'm saying it's Switzerland. It's neutral.
Switzerland. It's Whistling.
So let's get Mr. Hall in here, because he I see him ran back and forth. You know, he always bring this thing together like gorilla glue. No pun intended for anybody out there listening to what was going on. That's all anyway. But he always bring this thing together. So we talking about assets versus liabilities, and I want you to ring in on this, chime in on this, Mr. Hall. What's your take on it? What are we talking about?
I mean, let's put it like this, right? We are always going to be a liability and an asset, like you all have always said, but it's got to be a balance. Now, here's why I say that there has to be a balance, because the fact of the matter is, we don't want to go and buy our toys with cash and not leverage low interest debt. You see, there's good debt and there's bad debt, but the reality is, if I can go and get what I want at a low interest rate, I would call that a good debt, because it keeps my cash flow in check.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying I'm going to go and buy that Hummer, you know, but look, let's not too real here. If we go and get and finance at a low interest rate, then we're controlling our cash flow, and that's the main concept. But if we go and we pay the $80,000 cash, then we just lost and paid $1 million. So there's the concept of, good debt and bad debt, and we're looking at debt and we're looking at assets. But let's remember also too here that not every asset stays an asset.
Hold on, before you go any further. You said that paying $80,000 cash can cost us $1 million.
True.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this in a lot of different perspectives because I can go out right now. I'm able to, and this ain't a brag, and I ain't gonna do it because I got enough common sense now, But I can go out there and get me a signature loan.
Mm-hmm.
I can give me a signature loan for about $50,000, $60,000 right now.
You're right.
I take that signature loan at a low interest rate, and I can either choose to grow it, sow it, spend it, split it, subtract it, or I can spend it. Now, let's say I take $50,000 and I go and get that loan cash at a low interest rate, and I go and buy something with it. I spend the whole 50 stacks, the whole thing gone. I just lost my buying power. 2 ways. One, I just tied up my credit. So my 768
it's going down.
It's probably gonna drop at least about 700, maybe even more, maybe lower.
Right.
Then on top of that, I did something. Let's say I'm gonna call myself foolish. I did something foolish because that's not me, and I took some cash flow and I used it for something that I could have used it for to either grow or build or buy an asset. I got somebody on my timeline right now. I'm sorry, I keep looking. Let me turn this thing off because they asking some crazy questions. But bottom line is, you need to sign in because they need to capture your information so we can keep on moving. That's why it's a capture page. So, but bottom line. So go ahead, James. So we lost $1 million. We lost $1 million chasing 80,000. I got you.
Right. And then there's a reality that an asset doesn't always stay an asset. I've got a lot of clients that I've had to talk and have the conversation with and say, hey, that rental property that you got is now not just a tax loss, it's a real loss. And if we look at the whole concept, even of rentals just alone, in the mortgage industry meltdown, and how many people who had millions of dollars of assets that went down to nothing, and assets don't always stay an asset. So if we think about it, it all goes back to cash flow. When we talk about assets and liabilities, an asset can become a liability. So while we focus so much on assets, we need to focus on the knowledge of what an asset is and to know how to let it go when it's not producing. And the reality is, even with rental properties, most people don't understand the tax advantages available to them anyway. So they're taking physical losses. So we are an asset, we are a liability. But at the same time, we got to have a balance. I don't want to be completely all asset because now I got so much relying on me. And for those that work and create income, that is your ability to be an asset. But you want to have a balance. You don't want to go and spend $100,000 on a house cash. You just lost all your buying power. You lost cash flow. So I mean,
that was part of the conversation.
We got to be both. No, you go. We got to be both. We got to be both. As much as we talk about assets can become liabilities. And I think it's important for people to understand that.
That was part of the conversation I had on the last call.
I need an explanation on that. So that means that asset that I have that's paid for, that my tenants are paying me every month, that's not an asset to me. Right, it's positive cash flowing me for the last 10 years.
Right. But look at a different scenario. I've got a client who has a house where it was costing him more to maintain the house than he was getting an income.
Yeah, that's that client. I'm talking. So you're talking about a person who's upside down.
Correct.
So you're talking about a person who has a mortgage on that property, and it's costing them more money to maintain that property than it is to make a profit from that property.
Correct.
Because if we don't say that, then somebody's going to be out there listening to what James says and says, man, I own rental property, and he just told me that ain't no asset.
Well, you okay? So now let me go in and be the advocate. First, David said risk management. You're saying risk management, James. So the first thing is this. You're right. You got to understand. You got to understand that if I'm upside down on anything, that means more money's coming out than coming in.
Correct.
That could be in taxes.
That could be in anything.
That could be in maintenance. No, I'm just saying. So I got a property. And y'all just jumping on talking about assets versus liabilities, what they actually are, understanding what they are. If I have a property that's bringing, my mortgage is $500 a month.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making $750 a month, which means in layman's terms, I'm clearing $250, but I'm really not clearing $250.
Correct. You're right.
So now, because I got maintenance,
right,
and I still have taxes on that property, insurance, all that stuff. So now I could be upside down on that property. Exactly. So for the person that's out there listening who may have heard some of the things that's being said, we have to understand that the property has to be paid for. Number one, it's better that it's paid for. Let's put it like that. It's better and easier to see the positive cash flow if that thing is paid for. But it's also we have to understand when we start talking about maintenance, when we start talking about taxes, we start talking about this is broken down, that's broken down, property management, all those things. You can actually be upside down on a rental property, and you got to look at it like this. I have a friend that had several rental properties, and I told this friend, now I don't have a degree in real estate, but I know numbers. Okay. You need to understand that if it's a slow market and we're going through a pandemic right now, and certain properties are being financed by certain loans, certain types of loans, and that renter, that customer in there is not paying their rent, and you have to come out your pocket. You got to know when to let that thing go. See, you don't want to go 3 months into your pocket money, your back pocket money, paying that thing out of your pocket, saying, I hope it bounce back. I hope it bounce back. See, you want to think about this, because now if that property does not have the equity in it, it's not going to be worth keeping it anyway. Don't go broke trying to get cash flow positive.
Right. And if I can just clarify, Eric, the whole concept is we need to understand what an asset is. Now, here's the problem. We got things that we can label as assets, but the minute that we're upside down and they're not producing, they're no longer an asset. If we think about it, you can have a business that you are investing in, a traditional business that's costing you more money than it is making. So what I'm saying is we get so caught up in the labels. This is an asset. This is an asset. This is a liability. Well, the concepts are really interchangeable depending on cash flow.
That's the key point right there. He just hit it on the head. He hit it on the head right there. The cash flow. Because if you don't have based on what Eric just said, the tenant not be in there no more. You go in 3 months. It's just like a person having a traditional business when the pandemic hit and you didn't have no cash reserves to sustain you for 1 year or 18 months or whatever the case may be. Boom! Now you're done. So now that business that was making looked like it was making you money, but when an emergency came, it's just like living check to check. Like you live in check to check as a personal person, you live in invoice to invoice as a business person.
You sound like somebody. I heard somebody say that before.
So cash flow is always going to be the key. I heard that from Eric. The cash flow is always going to be. Every time we have a conversation about money or anything, it's always going to boil down to cash flow.
To positive cash flow.
You either cash flow negative or you cash flow positive, regardless if it's an asset, liability, this, that, and the third. If you are upside down and it's costing you money to run your business or do whatever you're doing, you're done.
So check this out, y'all. Check this out. We have I think honestly, I think we're having a pretty in-depth conversation. And for anybody out there listening, if you're just joining us, we are talking about assets versus liabilities. And there are a lot of people out there who really don't understand the difference. They don't understand, first of all, the definition of assets. And they respect, many people really don't respect the severity of a liability. But we are all assets at some point in time, or can be, but we're definitely all liabilities. As long as you live on this earth, you're going to always need money to live. You can be completely debt free, but you're still going to have to pay your light bill.
Correct.
You're still going to have to pay your water bill. You're still going to have to pay a cell phone if you're going to use that. So those are bills that are going to have to be paid. What I am sharing right now, if you guys can see this, what I'm sharing right now, and I want y'all to kind of help me out because I'm a little slow. So, basically, this is a financial balance sheet, and this is one example that I have access to. A lot of people use different things, but I want you to understand that if you have a job, if you are not a business owner, if you don't have any other type of assets like investments, any other type of commodities or anything, you have nothing else, no rental property, you still have assets. You still have assets. So we're not counting you out. It's just most of our assets in that position, that situation, are cash equivalents. All right. So y'all know what cash equivalents are, right? If y'all don't, y'all gonna find out. Y'all gonna learn today. Cash equivalents. Okay. So let me get back in the screen because I really can't see it from where I'm at. But now, and I'm not putting any numbers in here, but you're talking about checking accounts. That's a cash equivalent. I'm gonna make this thing so big it's gonna jump out the screen on you. Is that a little bit better, y'all?
Yeah, that's good. I can sit back now.
Okay. I know you got them y'all that hardware going on over there.
You got the young man things on, yeah.
So checking accounts, savings accounts, money market accounts, money market fund accounts, CDs, U.S. Treasury T-bills, cash value life insurance. I'm gonna stop right there. Okay. I just want to talk about those really quickly because the average person that doesn't do anything other than work a job may have some savings accounts, some checking accounts. They may have learned about certificates of deposits. Their grandparents may have purchased some type of bonds or bills. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. These are cash equivalents, and there's nothing wrong with these. You still want to add these up as your assets. But I'm going to tell you something and share something with you. All these are low interest bearing assets. I'm going to say that again. These are all low interest bearing assets. You probably say, well, what does that mean, Eric? And why does it matter? Well, you have to position yourself. If you're going to build an asset, you want to have that asset as safely and as comfortably as you probably feel, but you got to have the asset multiply, right? Exponentially. So there's something called the rule of 72, and I'm not going to get too much into it, but basically the rule of 72, there's a rule of 69, and there's a rule of 70. All of them the same. You can Google them. I already did my research some years ago. The rule of 72 says that the interest rate divided by the number 72 divided by that interest rate equals the amount of time it's going to take for that money to double. So currently right now, checking/savings accounts and also money market accounts, because money market accounts was known as the high yield savings accounts. Y'all stop me whenever I'm wrong. Jump in there, please. They're all running at about 0.5%. I didn't say 1%. I didn't just say less than 1%. I said 0.5%. So we sitting there running around and we're celebrating. And a lot of people don't know why we're celebrating. We don't know why we're celebrating. We have checking accounts. I heard somebody tell me they had $85,000 in their savings account. Now, I'm not going to bust anybody out because, once again,
Lord,
we perish. We reject knowledge, so we perish for lack of knowledge. I think that's all. I think that's pretty clear. So if I have $85,000 in a checking or savings account that's getting me 0.5%, well, let's see. 10% on $85,000 is going to be $8,500.
Right.
5% of $85,000 is going to be $4,250.
Mm-hmm.
So 5%. So 0.5% is going to be $420.50, something like that. We celebrating 0.5%. That's because we don't understand. And now our asset is turning into a liability because it's sitting on a shelf.
Well, it's an asset and a liability.
Well, it's really it's an asset for them.
It's an asset for the bank. It's a liability for you, the person holding that 85,000 in there and getting 0.5%. That's a liability.
So understanding assets and how they work is very important. I think we need to do this. We need to jump into this one some more. But this is just some of the things we're talking about. So everybody has the ability to have this sheet, this financial balance sheet. But most people don't even check it out until they get ready to go buy a car or a house. See, someone who does not have a business or any real assets, they're not going to be concerned about this. Their stuff is pretty much on their credit report. But someone who has a business, if you're a business owner and you're out there looking at this and you're listening, I encourage you, I charge you to go to Google and pull up a financial balance sheet and start writing down your assets in your asset column. Okay, that's what I charge you to do. Now, here's something else. We're going to move on up. We're talking about investments, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, partnership interests in businesses. Of course, you see we slipped that in there. That's our My Econ business. Retirement funds, pensions, lump sum values, IRAs, cohort accounts. Help me out, James. What's a cohort account? Am I saying it correctly?
Cough.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, they aren't too many of those, but it's some of the IRAs, yeah.
Okay. Employee saving plans, 401ks, 403bs, SEPs, things like that. Personal assets. It says your principal residence. Secondary residence. That's going to be, that's not really rental property right there. Secondary residence could be like a summer home, right?
Right.
Okay. Collectibles, arts and antiques, all right? And then automobiles, but I'm gonna go a little further than that. I'm gonna just say classic automobiles, right? Because ain't too many automobiles is gonna bring you any value unless it's paid for. Then you can actually look at the full true value. Home furnishings, furs, and jewelry. Okay. Then of course it allows you to add stuff. Now I'm gonna stop right here on the balance sheet. The balance sheet for the liabilities. Now we talked about a lot about assets. Had a lot to say about assets. I think there's a lot to say about liabilities. I think there's a whole bunch that could be said about liabilities, Ms. Burke.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and a lot of people ain't gonna agree with one of them I see on there. Actually, two of them I see on there. Maybe even three. Somebody gonna tell me that their house is their house. It says home mortgage. Mortgage means that you still owe the money on it. You owe the loan. Somebody's going to argue that their mortgage is an asset, and that is it could be good debt, could be considered good debt, but it's not an asset because it's taking money out of your pocket every month. And if you ain't careful, I'm not going to say that, but it's taking money out your pocket every month. Some people may argue that their car is an asset. Well, ain't no argument there. Some people might even consider their student loans to be an asset or even good debt in the good debt column. I'm just telling you, I got to be the advocate. I'm just telling you, some people probably out there thinking. Now, y'all feel free to jump in, and talk about that. I mean, a home, student loans, a vehicle. We know the other stuff is hands down. You borrowing money against your 401k, it might take forever to pay that sucker back. Investment loans, real estate, stuff like that. Personal loans.
So here's a question.
What do y'all feel about? Go ahead.
If a vehicle is saving you more in taxes than you are actually spending on the vehicle, does it become an asset?
If a vehicle is saving me more in taxes than I'm actually paying for it, is it? Yeah, it's an asset column, bro.
How?
It's an asset column.
How? Because an asset is supposed to be because it's saving me money on taxes.
Listen, Pastor. Let me be the first to come to Columbus, Ohio.
You driving it for your business
in person, and let you understand, help you to understand this, and everybody else who's out there.
I'm being an advocate and asking
the biggest savings that anybody can ever have is tax savings. So let's say I'm paying $5,000 a year for my vehicle.
Right.
Maybe it's a monthly note and maintenance to keep it on the road. However, I'm able to write off 60% of that. I wish I had a mic. I would have threw it.
You didn't have to throw it. I just needed the audience.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I know. Yeah, I got you.
Because so many of us get caught up in. I knew it wasn't a trick question.
Yeah.
When James asked it, but I knew that somebody in the audience, whether they're live or they watching the recording, they gonna say the same thing. The answer gonna come out of their mouth. How? Why? You just told me that a car. They didn't hear the. You just told me the car was a liability. What they didn't hear was that key point he said on tax saving. It can't be a tax savings for you if you're not using it for business purposes. If you're using it for personal use, then the answer is no. But if you're using it for business purposes, and it don't take a whole lot to be a business, but the average everyday person who's watching this live or on the recording, that's going to go past their head, and they're going to like, okay, I've heard that before, but I don't really want to do that because I don't want to keep up with that, and I just want to keep. So that's another story for another time. But that was a great question, and I was hoping that I'm hoping that most people got that when Eric explained that when you use that vehicle in the essence that it's to be used in, then yes, it becomes an asset to you for real. And now you loving driving in your car, going wherever you're going. Like we went to Virginia. I love taking my car to Virginia and was talking about business the whole time. At 58 cents a mile.
It's amazing. It's amazing as you say that personalities will be very, very quick to say what they don't want to do when it comes to building wealth. But many people don't have a problem asking for a quick fix. So the average personality that does not want to build an asset, and I got to be very specific, whether it's a business or investments, the average personality does not want to build an asset are the same personalities who are either waiting on a refund or a stimulus check. That's going to hurt somebody. That wasn't intended to hurt anybody. That was intended to be the truth. Because when our mindsets are wrapped around give me, I ran into some people, Pastor. I ran into some people that lied to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't lie to me because I was smarter than that. It took me all about, a couple of months to see their habits and their behaviors. But they lied to me. They lied to themselves and said that they didn't have a problem building something, right? They didn't have a problem with building.
Mm.
But as soon as they ran out of nails, as soon as they ran out of lumber, as soon as they ran out of help, they stopped building. They were looking for something prefab. Somebody gonna get it in a minute. They were looking for something, a quick way out.
Mercy.
And I'm gonna tell you something. We will build an asset in our lifetime.
Yeah.
We will.
Yeah.
It depends on what asset we're gonna build, how we're gonna build it. And the biggest question is that asset gonna be for ourselves? Or is at least one of those assets gonna be for ourselves?
And you make a good point, Eric. And as Pastor Greg was talking about, and Ms. Bertha was talking about, that's when you really start to differentiate what the want and the need actually is.
Yes.
See, the want and need is always going to be focused on what is the end result.
Yes.
And the reality is we live in a day and age where there is no standard. We're trying to piecemeal life together. We're chasing shallowness. We're chasing quick term fixes. We're chasing stuff to make us feel good. And in the end, we're not feeling good, because the fact of the matter is we got to build something that we can actually start working from. So in the end result, if the focus of the end result is going to be some level of wealth, whether it's a couple million, whether it's $1 million, or whether you got $1 million and it's paying you $40,000 a year, but you're debt free and you can live life on your terms. The reality is we're going to chase decisions and base wants and needs off of the end result. And if we don't have an end result in mind, by default, we plan to lose every single time.
Yeah.
That's a mouthful all by itself. Because if you like basically what he just said, if you don't have a plan for your money got a plan for you.
Yeah.
Somebody else got a plan for your money.
And somebody else got a plan for your money. And that's been and before any of I'll just speak for me because I can't offend me. Before I even got any of this information, somebody had a plan for my money that didn't include me.
That's
and
right.
I was all on the want. I was in the want column.
Yeah.
I was always in the look. I'm making money. I know how to go make that money. I want that, and I'm going to get that. And just what James said, I never looked at the end result. The end result gonna be, look, dude, you're gonna run out of money.
You're gonna run out of money.
You're gonna run out of money.
It's not coming in.
You either gonna run out of money or you're gonna run out of time to be able to go get the money. So when you run out of time, you run out of money. You run out of time to go get the money because you haven't been letting money grow for you, making babies. Now you in a press. You want a full court press when you should have been full court pressing at 20.
Yeah.
You wait till you get 60 to put on the full court press.
Come on now.
It's too late almost.
It's not too late.
You can salvage it.
It's not too late. As long as you live it, it's not too late.
I was gonna say almost, but it ain't. It's just that the knowledge that I've acquired in the last six years, had I been listening at 20, like what James said, then the end result wouldn't have been so painful.
You just have to catch up now.
Right.
And this the thing though, we run out of catch up time because the first thing about it is, ladies and gentlemen, we know not the day nor the hour.
That's right.
So it basically, whether we think it could be too late or not, it could, because the scripture is very clear. We don't know the day, nor the time, nor the hour, because you ain't promised to be waking up every morning when that clock go off, or you don't set the clock.
So the best time to get started was yesterday.
Yeah.
5 years ago. That's the best time. The next best time, if y'all listening to this now.
Yes, now.
It's right now. It's right now. It's right now. Because James said it clear. If you don't have an end, if you don't know what the end result is on what you're doing, because the want and the need is always going to be there. You want that. You got to keep asking yourself, do you need that?
You know what happens is, Pastor, and I seen this for me. The need is metal, and the want is a magnet.
Ooh.
And they come. See, we got to get them separated. Is what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If we can separate our needs and our wants, identify it, separate it, we end up a opportunity to get and to have and to build and to prosper and go forward and do great things. And you know what I'm saying? Overshadows that need. And I'm probably right now. I apologize if I am.
You don't have to apologize. Technology is technology. If it freezes, it freezes. It's just what it is. See, a lot of times when the devil don't want that information to go forth, so he thinks he can cause a distraction. I just call him out for what he is.
Yeah.
I just call it out for what it is. I don't make no apologies for how I know that works.
Well, we're gonna say it. We're gonna say it again.
If the Lord says that the devil is the prince of the airways, this is the airways. And anytime he sees or hears him or his imp see some stuff going down that he don't want spread it, he gonna try to create a distraction so he can create defeat.
We're gonna bind that and send it back to where it came from. So
exactly.
That's that.
And really mean it.
Well, here's what it is, y'all. Our wants end up overriding our needs when our needs and wants are so close together. When we have opportunity to see something, get something, do something, have an opportunity, it overshadows, it overrides it. So we have to be conscious. We have to be mindful. We have to be so much on our stuff. We got to tell our money where to go, because if not, it's going to leave. It's going to grow legs and walk away. Yeah. There's three things that we need to realize. Banks are getting our money through interest. Banks getting our money through interest. Big business is getting our money through our wants. Manipulating us through our wants.
Every day.
And the government is getting our money through overpaying taxes. Your money got value. And if it didn't have no value,
explain that to them so they don't think. So, because a lot of people miss that part on that third one. The government is getting your money and overtax. See, then you got the finite mind who ain't thinking properly, saying, "Oh, you telling me I ain't got to pay taxes or blah blah blah." No,
I'm gonna pass the ball to James.
Right.
The government's getting our money via us overpaying taxes
every day.
You care to elaborate on that
concept? Yeah, it's just a simple concept, but there, just to keep it simple for time perspective. You know, for the vast majority, you know, your refund is literally an overpayment of your taxes. And I show my clients this all the time when we look at the 1040 together. And I say, look, you know, for the most part, you know, if you don't have any dependents and you getting a refund, you are literally overpaying. If you got dependents and you're getting a refund, then there's a possibility that you can cancel out taxes throughout the year. So between federal, state, between Social Security tax and Medicare tax and not Medicare retirement or Social Security retirement, between all those taxes, we are overpaying. And we got to put ourselves in a position to be able to claim that money and that cash flow back so we can run our plan. And Eric, just to touch base, you know, I think it all starts really with gratitude. You see, when your wants and needs are overwhelming, start being grateful for what you got.
Yeah.
I guarantee you start to cancel out some of those wants and you can focus on what the need really is. If we are ungrateful, then we chase shallowness to fill that void of being ungrateful. So we start with gratitude. I tell my family this all the time. I believe God gave it to me. You start the day with gratitude. You start every day with gratitude. Then those wants don't look so enticing.
That's a look. I might have to. I'm going. It ain't no might have to. I'm taking that. That's gonna be a Bible study tomorrow.
You got took it. Yeah, you got took it, bro. You gonna see that all over my
attitude. Start with the He didn't say this part, but he said gratitude every morning. Start with the attitude of gratitude. So just keep positioning yourself at night before you go to bed, so your dreams will be of being grateful and thankful. So when you wake up in the morning, then you're gonna always have the attitude of gratitude. You're gonna be like, and you're right, them needs will go, they're gonna go like this.
I love it. I love it, man. Hey, we at the top.
Your one's gonna be keep calling you like the cheesecake if you like cheesecake.
I love cheesecake. I'm in love with cheesecake.
Whatever your favorite dish is, that's how the need gonna be calling you like, hey, the one gonna be calling like, man, you know you want that cheesecake. It's 12 o'clock
right now.
The scripture said, "I will supply all of your needs
according to
your wants."
Right.
In some cases, that's going to be.
I will supply all your needs.
Come on.
Not your wants.
So we going back. We going back.
Listen, now you're going down my lane. I like to see. I start getting happy now, boy. Yeah.
Hey, check it out, y'all. It's the top of the hour. Once again, if you jumped on late, if you're just not seeing this, or if you see this on the replay, we are here to facilitate education, conversation, and hopefully some great direction and some guidance. This is only an educational moment. We want everybody that hears this, sees this, and who touches this information to be successful. Without changing a mindset, without the proper information, without having a different perspective on learning and hearing, we got to protect our ears. Without a different perspective on that, then we're going to continue to stay where we are. We got Miss Bertha Winston out of DMV, Mr. James Hall out of Falling Waters, West Virginia. We got Pastor Gregory Napier out of Columbus, Ohio, and yours truly, Eric McKinley, out of Columbia, South Carolina. This was our cash flow conversation tonight. Like I always say, when you know better, that's when you have the ability to do better. And the only knowledge that's powerful is properly applied knowledge. I'm not going to see you on Friday because I'm taking my wife to an island with some sand that the water's blue because we celebrating our anniversary. But I will see y'all at the top because it's too many people
at the bottom.
Enjoy yourself, man. You deserve it. You and your wife deserve it. Have a wonderful time. And
anniversary.
It is Sunday, Miss Bertha. We making 20 years in matrimony. It ain't always been holy. I'm gonna be honest. It ain't always been holy, but we together and we love each other. So
I was next month.
Oh yeah, I'm tracking in my mom.
Next month.
My mom and dad. My mom and dad are on the
52 years next month, Pastor Greg.
My Lord, 52 years, Jesus.
Their mom and dad are making 51.
Okay.
Man,
that's a long time for to be with somebody.
Well, I ain't gonna tell you what mine is, but at least I'm getting there.
You ain't gonna tell us if you don't know.
Well, I know it's 33. It's 33, brother.
Where Miss Carolyn?
My name ain't Eric McKinley. I know my stuff. Yeah, look, I know who in charge, and I know what my stuff is. Buddy, look, I ain't Eric McKinley.
Okay.
You ain't gonna put me on.
Touche.
Are we still live?
We are still live, and my wife is gonna see this, and then I'm gonna have to be putting time out.
I'm glad she gonna see it. Miss Bertha, 52.
52 years, man. That's older than me. That's older than me. That's what's up.
That's a blessing.
It
is
to be able to be able to say it.
Y'all be blessed, and I'm gonna reach out to y'all here in the next couple of hours or so. Probably 24, just to let y'all know I'm in the airs. But y'all be blessed. Y'all take care, and I'll see y'all later. Y'all take care. Peace.
Later.